Hello, everybody. Welcome to 2021 November Week 3 Channel 96 News. And today we have a bunch of stupid and some cool stories to share with you. As I believe we have quite a few. Today we have about, 18 different stories we gotta go over. It's a long list. But I already know it's going to get done quickly. All right, let's start with the content creation platforms. Starting with YouTube news. YouTube is removing the public dislikes from its platform. As of what I've heard is that they are only making it visible to the creators of the video. So, for example, if someone pushes the dislike button on a video, like this one right here, you will no longer be able to see the count. I think that's already taken an effect, Wednesday. And on top of that, the only way you can find it is if you're the creator of the video, and I bet you it's either going to be found on... It might most likely be only visible in Creator Studio. That's what's probably going to happen. I haven't tested that out yet because I never felt like it. So, yeah. Next up on Omlet Arcade, World Cup qualifier game live scores of Guyana versus Guinea-Bissau were streamed as this was the top story of this week that I could find. As Omen Arcade has now grown in popularity over the course of a couple of years. I've joined the platform literally last year, and now I'm at 500 followers. So the popularity is kind of different there than it is here on YouTube, than it is on Facebook gaming, and than it is on especially frickin' Twitch. It took about a year just to get 50 followers. So, moving on. Speaking of Facebook's testing their news feed that allows users to control what they see, which is good news because now you don't have to see stuff that you're not interested in. Like, for example, if you don't want to talk about poop, you don't have to. All right, Twitch news. Streamers are combating the hate speeches and raiders that are going into Twitch streams by playing calm games with a welcoming attitude. How this may help is with a calmer attitude means calmer people. And calmer people means less hate. That is hopefully the case, as we'll see what happens. As this trend has been going on for about a month or a month and a half now. And we gotta hope that it doesn't continue. Alright, moving up. Chris Daugherty's daughter story says detectives saw that her death was actually a homicide. So which means somebody is behind the murder and they need to find out who. Who can it be? I have no idea. They could be anywhere across the world because the world is big. Next story. Taylor Swift chose Dylan O'Brien and Sadie Sink to be featured in her short film called All Too Well. Now, again, I have not heard much. I didn't even know this was a thing until now. But the story basically is about something. I haven't seen it. I don't think it's been released yet. So yeah, those are the two stars of her film. So yeah. Moving on to the Florida Gators rally to beat Samford 7-52, I believe, in football, as they're back to their winning ways once again, as they were previously lost 3 consecutive games in a row. which means their losing streak has been snapped. Next up, safety. The Pittsburgh Steelers safety, McCann Fitzpatrick, has tested positive for COVID-19, which is the second player on their roster in the past 3 days to test positive other than Ben Roethlisberger, which means the people of the Steelers community are probably not too happy about this, as for them, they probably have to go through what most teams had to go through. My favorite team had to go through this too, about, I think, last year mainly. So, yeah. All I know is COVID sucks. Alright, moving on to NCAA again. The Lady Raiders take down Vanderbilt 55-46 in, I believe, women's basketball. As I believe they're on their winning ways now. So Adele promotes the album about divorce, but also brings two people together in a, which caused a, two people to get together, as one has decided to pull off the ring. Well, not by pull off the ring. What I mean by that is that they, you know the story. Open jewel box. Yeah, you get the idea. I forgot the word, I'm not gonna lie. Frick. Alright, moving on. The 49ers win their first home game in more than a year against the Los Angeles Rams. Now, not winning in front of your fans for a long period of time may be annoying. But now that they finally have won, the fans that were at that game probably said that they picked a perfect game because they finally did it. They won, especially against the Rams. The Rams are actually a pretty good team this year. Moving on. New Mexico loses to Canada and Edmonton in the coldest game ever for El Tri. Which means, again, in Canada, especially around Edmonton, because it's closer to the really cold areas, the temperatures has got to be really cold. Because you're further up north than most of the other big cities in Canada, like Toronto and Montreal, Calgary, but Edmonton is way up there. So if you were at that game, hopefully you didn't leave your jacket at home, because boy, it was cold there today. It was actually cold. It's cold here in Waikamaco as well. Moving on. SpiderMan, No Way Home. Second trailer is finally released, as people were waiting for it to happen. As now that it's finally happened, people will be watching it, and they will be getting more excited about the movie that's coming out soon. Moving on to the next story. New York Jets safety Zach Stacy arrested for assaulting his ex-girlfriend. Now, here's what you need to stop doing. Stop assaulting anybody. What is the point? Like, why? There's no point in beating someone up just to get them to do something, or something has something to do with revenge, or whatever the case may be. But because that happened, he's been arrested. He's probably no longer playing with the Jets anymore. Well, the Jets were not really a good franchise right now when it comes to team strength at the moment, so that makes matters worse now that they've lost another player. Moving on. young music artist, young Dolph, was killed in a shooting at a bakery in Memphis, I believe a couple days ago, which is, crazy as it sounds, this country's getting even more shootings. It's just a popular trend, unfortunately. Don't know why. It just should probably stop at some point. Because you have the right to carry a gun, but you abuse that right by using it to hurt others. So the point is, don't abuse your rights. Use them for good. Don't use them for bad. And if you are, stop it. Moving on, Lunar Eclipse is coming up. I believe there's a partial Lunar Eclipse coming up, I believe tonight. I don't know where what regions will have it and what regions will not. But all I've heard is that there will be a lunar eclipse later tonight. Well, at least a partial one. And the last one was several hundred years ago. And moving on to our final story, Kyle Rittenhouse was found not guilty on homicide and recklessness at a fatal shooting.
Wait, he was found out not guilty?
As I was told by some people that it was self-defense. But don't get my idea if I'm wrong.
Wait, was he actually found not guilty?
So yeah, that's all the stories we have to cover this week on Channel 96 News. And we will see you guys next week for another